Hello and welcome. I'm Conan Librarian of Conan's EDC, Easy Dad Carry, and today I'm going to be doing something kind of fun. First, I want to say thank you for subscribing. I've seen an uptick in a lot of views and subscribers. Welcome. I hope that anything I do here is, well, fun, interesting, somewhat insightful, and inspires anyone to, well, play with EDC, first aid, survival, whatever it is. I hope that more and more people get interested and get more prepared. So with this, I did a review of the Lone Wolf Survival Kit from Walmart, and in the same vein of that, I found this online on Amazon. So this was only $17. It claims to have 31 items in it. This is DeftGet. It's called on the bag. It's the First Aid Survival and Camping Kit. On Amazon, it's called a First Aid Kit Refill. So, I mean, you would think it's just a first aid kit, but as you can see on the picture on the front here, it also has a small spade. It's got some paracord, a knife. I don't know if they really consider it a first aid kit or what, but at 17 bucks, it's hard to get this much stuff of this type in one kit. So I really thought, why not? So I'm just going to dive in. I haven't opened this. Unfortunately, it actually came ripped. I don't know if that's how it happened in shipping or what it is, but I'm just going to get into it. You may notice a couple jumps in the video while I'm recording. It's because I'm going to pause here and there to take some pictures to drop into the video. So I'll drop in a picture here of what's supposed to be in here as far as contents goes. This front list is a little tough to read, so I'll just drop the picture from online. So this is supposedly really geared toward having in your car or having just in case. Like I've said before, if you have paper, you then have a fire source. So, I mean, I'm not worried about it right now, but if it's in your car and you need something for survival, don't throw away paper. Really, I hate to say it, but anything can burn, anything can be fuel. So if you're in an emergency situation, keep your fuel. First off, the bag itself, so DeftGet, you can see first aid kit, survival, and camping. Neat little captions on the front. The bag is just this kind of small canvas bag. This is definitely not waterproof, but it doesn't feel too bad. And with the red on here, that'll stand out. I like that. Alright, camera, come on. I know we can do this. I know we can do this. There we go. All right, I'm going to get my camera focused. 1 second. All right, there we go. So the bag feels pretty nice. I don't know how tough it is, but I like that it's good. It's got good grab on the top with the two handles. Zipper that goes all the way around 3 sides. So I'm just going to open this up and we'll see what's in here. Now, the first thing, I really like the fact that this says it has 31 items, and it lists all the things that are in it. A lot of these kits you'll find online say they have like 130 items or 150 or whatever it is, because they count literally every Band-Aid and Q-tip as its own item. This doesn't do that, and I appreciate that. I don't really feel like I'm getting, duped into thinking there's a whole bunch more. And we'll pop it open. If you're familiar at all with a lot of these online quote-unquote survival kits, this is a fairly common setup. A lot of them, you get those molly bags or mole, whatever it is, that fold open in the same way. And I'm going to start first off in this side here because I think this has a couple of the things I'm most interested in. In fact, for 17 bucks, it comes with a little shovel. Now, a lot of these, I'm just going to put the kit itself to the side here for a minute. I've actually been looking online for a good just camp shovel lately, and for the cost itself of this whole kit at 17 bucks, that's about what you're going to look at spending on one of these themselves. I'm obviously not going to dig here at my desk, but this is kind of cool. So, tell you what, I'm going to get a good picture of this. Alright, so I'm going to drop a few of the pictures in. honestly, you can get a shovel spade like this for between 10 and 15 bucks for some cheap ones. You can spend a lot more to get much better quality. Um, Honestly, this isn't terrible. Now, I need to put it through a test. I don't see myself digging out of anything crazy. I'm not going to break rocks with this. But honestly, for what this is, the fact that this comes in the kit, pretty simple design, is pretty cool. I mean, this is at least going to dig out some loose dirt or gravel around your tires. It's going to help shovel some snow. It's going to dig a latrine pit for you. It's a good basic tool to have, actually. And the fact that it's included in this kit, the fact that it has its own little pouch here, I'm actually pretty impressed that this kit has something like that. I don't know that I would carry it back in the main pouch itself. As a matter of fact, I think what I would do is carry this separate and then use the pouch for adding or for other things. But overall, so far, that's pretty cool. Even if it is cheap, I think that discounting it simply because it's not Rhino or something really, 20 to 40 bucks on its own, discounting this would be a mistake because this is a decent, cheap tool that's still going to do basic functions that you don't want to always use your hands for. So the shovel, in my opinion, for this kit gets an A. Next and I'm just going to really do the top part first. Let's see here. Well, that's actually kind of it in the top pouch. So that spade takes up not very much room, but this is the other quote-unquote survival stuff. This is what takes this from just being a first aid kit to what they're calling a survival preparedness kit. And we'll see what we've got here. First off, tiny little whistle. Yeah, you'd really have to blow, and it's a cheap whistle. You can see in here, this is not really anything amazing, but a whistle, even a cheap one, is 100% better than not having anything. It's better than shouting. This is going to last more than your lungs ever will. So we've got the whistle. We have a tourniquet, so I'm not going to undo this, but this is just good, strong rubber. You can see here. Yeah, good, strong rubber. I don't know that, I'd use it for anything besides just tying a good, quick knot around an arm or something, but, I don't know that I'm going to unroll it, but this is definitely big enough to put around an arm or a limb. I like that. I mean, it's not one of those really fancy ones with the twist baton and everything, but even something small and basic is better than nothing, and it's a good, simple solution. Wrap this around, tie a knot. I like this enough, even if I don't keep this kit the way it is, throw this in my regular first aid kit, or a smaller kit rather, because I have tourniquets in my large camping stuff and first aid kit, but this is a good kind of on-the-go one. I like that. Next up is the fishing kit. So I've been looking at fishing kits a lot, and the validity of a fishing kit, honestly, 100% depends on the person using it. You can spend a lot of money on a lot of gear. There's some very cool kits out there. But this is a good, simple one. It doesn't say what strength line that is, but it's enough to catch some minnows. It's a good little package. You can see floats, everything's pre-tied. I mean, this thing's ready to cast off. I like that it comes on this little reel, so I don't like that it's foam. I guess it means if you drop this in the water, it's not going to float away from you, or rather sink. But that's not terrible. The fact that it's included in here, I like that. So a decent, well, I can't say decent, but it is a good, small, compact fishing kit, and it's better than nothing, honestly. You put something inside of here so you can spool it or run it out. That's not a terrible little backup. You can't even call it a fishing kit so much as a backup something. Alright. The fishing kit here. advertises one of the tools or items is a carabiner. I wouldn't even hang my keys from this. You wouldn't hang the kit. This is... I like carabiners because they're a point of contact. I talk about that all the time. Points of contact are important. Points of contact are what keep things together. And this is better than nothing, but I mean, this is barely anything. Spend 10 to 20 bucks and get a bunch of decent carabiners if you're ever going to be outdoors. Maybe I'll do a video sometime on decent carabiners, but it doesn't take a lot of money to get something that's not a tiny cheap piece of junk. All right, so this, I believe, is probably the knife. And I read some reviews on this that the knife as advertised is not what came in the kit. But this is exactly what's advertised. Just a little straight edge. Ooh, it's not locking. I prefer that it was locking. And what is this? Measure this blade out here. This is roughly... I don't know if we can see that. I mean, it's not nothing. It's about a 3-inch blade, so that's not terrible. Will it cut? Ooh, wow. Well, that's surprising right out of the box. It's... Ooh, pretty sure. Well, the first one looked good. Well, it's better than nothing. I do like that it has that carabiner function on the back. So if I don't want to carry it, I don't know that I'd rely in an actual emergency on a carabiner like this. But if you're going to clip it to your belt or something, you have a lot of ways to make sure that you don't lose this knife. So not a terrible little guy. A good way to keep contact, and it's pretty slim and light. I do like that it's not a big chunky thing. Another thing you'll see in a lot of these survival kits is this big, heavy, like 6-inch blade, and that's great. It's probably better in an actual emergency situation, but this is something that will, in fact, cut fabric. This will do some shaving on some small sticks. This is not a terrible knife. The ergonomics, I don't have giant hands, but I can get 3 fingers on that okay and still feel pretty decent. So overall, really not a bad little knife to have in here. I don't know what kind of steel it is, and I doubt it says it on here. It doesn't. I'm sure it's just something super cheap. But again, it's better than not having a blade anyways. So one of these guys, anyone who is watching this channel more than likely is familiar with the utility card, a survival card. These things are like a bad multi-tool, but less functional. Oh wow, I will say this edge, for once, I'm pulling one of these things out. Well, that's decently sharp. Maybe I lied. Well, it's not something I'd want to run along my finger too much, and it's got the little saw. This is better than nothing, and you can always use these flat edges to scrape and spark if you need to. Having a chunk of metal can be useful in a lot of ways, but honestly, the more I've done outdoors, the more I've done EDC, I quit carrying these. I've never found a use for them. If someone utilizes one of these all the time, let me know. Tell me what I'm missing. Tell me why these are great and what I'm just not getting, because honestly, I'm just not getting them. It's, if you have it, I mean, I wouldn't toss it if it was part of the gear. If I open this kit, it would be a tool, but it's not something I would rely on or carry with me, expecting it to be something that reliable. Got paracord here. It claims to be, let's see here. So this paracord, they're claiming that it is 550 7-strand paracord. I'll be honest, I don't know how much I trust that, and you know what? We're actually going to do a little test here. They say it's 7-strand, 550. Let's see first off. Well, there we go. Knife is nice and sharp. Cut through that. I don't know how many times it'll actually cut. See if it's actually 7 strand here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is actually 7 strand. I don't know about 550. Maybe I'll make a sling out of it, but it is actually 7 strand. So I'm actually kind of inclined to believe it might actually be 550. 550, if you go online, is getting cheaper and cheaper. I mean, you can get this stuff 100 feet for dirt cheap. So, I mean, it feels real smooth. It doesn't feel like 550. But honestly, just even seeing the 7 strand in there, I'd be more apt to trust this than a regular shoelace. So, overall, I would say for being 17 bucks in this kit, uh, so far the tools really aren't too bad. Let's get into the medical stuff. Okay. So getting into the medical supplies. I mean, I do like this bag. It could be waterproof, but the fact that there's so much space, I imagine this company, who's this? DeftGet, when they put this together, yeah, you can keep the shovel with it, but just the storage itself. The idea with this to me is I can put this bag of quote unquote survival stuff in here, but I have so much space to upgrade this, add more stuff, do a lot of things to this. So I like that. So there's the list of everything. So I don't think I really need to spend too long on a ton of it because everyone knows what band-aids are and what else and whatnot. Some basic, ugh, I mean, these things you can see these are junk. Yeah, these things wouldn't be worth anything. They don't line up properly. Here, well, safety pins. I like safety pins for a lot of reasons aside from medical reasons, whether you're needing to poke something or land something or dig something out, but securing things to things, again, common theme in anything I do. But when you look at these tweezers, see if my camera will capture it, you close it, they're not even lining up all the way. There you go. They don't want to line up without having to play with them. So these tweezers get, I'm going to say, a D minus simply because they don't get a full F. They still squeeze. But oh my gosh, you could see actually those little white lines. That is just the stress from me already squeezing it a few times like this. You can't rely on this, and these things are now an F because they're trash already. Uh, quote unquote medical scissors. I mean, these feel super cheap. I haven't actually seen that before. Check that out. What we've got is a little ruler on the scissors themselves. That's actually kind of interesting. I don't think there's anything else in here as a means of measurement. It almost makes sense. You'd want to be able to measure whether it's injuries, things you pull out, whatever it is. Let's test these scissors, see what we've got here. Yeah. Cutting through cardboard, pretty easy. These things are not comfortable, but they cut. They don't feel flimsy. Um, and I like actually that they've got the little measuring ruler on there. They are stainless steel. The metal itself does actually say stainless steel on it. So I like that. The rest of this, I'm not going to open packages, but I will put up, like I said at the beginning, if you want to go back, I've got a picture of all the contents that's in here, so I'm not going to go through all the medical stuff. I will say, though, I see this a lot in these medical kits. This is not a real roll of medical tape. This is... it's a 1/2 inch medical tape. It doesn't actually even say how long this is, but I can't imagine it's very much at all. A few wraps around your hand, maybe. Spend a couple bucks, upgrade this to a decent size roll. The triangular bandage. What I really want to get out of here, though, here's your tiny set of gloves. Resealable bag. I don't know that you're going to be putting these back in, but at the same time, I do like the idea that maybe you do put these on for something. I mean, if it's hard to keep your hands clean, so say you are out and needing to sterilize, it's I would rather have gloves even if I have to reuse them. I feel like these are easier to clean than my hands. Triangular bandage, always popular. Q-tips. I really like these Q-tips actually for a lot of reasons. The main one being that they're just these thin balsa wood sticks here are great for kindling. I mean, these are specifically made for me personally as great wilderness survival or EDC simply because aside from the obvious use of the Q-tip itself, the fact that they're just kindling straight up. I don't know why they're not advertised as kindling. So this was the other thing I wanted to find, is a little flashlight. So the kit does not come with the battery this needs, so I have one here, but I will tell you, this thing is the flimsiest feeling flashlight ever. It's a 1AA flashlight, which makes sense. They're not putting anything rechargeable or crazy. That battery rattles around, and it already... Ugh. I mean, if you are keeping this in your car, make sure to have an actual flashlight, headlight, something. Oh my gosh. It doesn't even want to actually screw in there. I don't know if this thing is broken out of the kit or what. But this thing is, there we go. Takes some work. This is the cheapest, flimsiest feeling flashlight I've ever used. You can see it's got that castling on the front, so if you want to use it to strike something or break something, or defend yourself, or... I mean, there's honestly not much to say. It's a flashlight. It's a AA. It has one brightness level. I'm going to say this can't be more than 100 lumens, if even that, to be honest. So it's better than nothing, but if you're going to carry this kit, consider this just a junk flashlight. Throw this in your junk drawer at home, or do something with it. It's better than sitting around in the dark, but I can't say that it's better than the flashlight that I carry on my keychain, honestly. So, flashlight, this guy, I mean, it's a D. It turns on, but this thing, I don't trust that I could even drop it. You can see the glue in the head where the lens is meeting the body. So, flashlight, as close to failing without failing as can be. I wonder, it doesn't even look waterproof. I was going to say, yeah, this material in here, nothing about this flashlight is good. Now, what I've seen in the past is people have turned flashlights into a container. So if you had a waterproof flashlight and the battery died, don't get rid of it. Obviously, it'd be silly because hopefully you'd want to find a power source, but a capsule can always be used in a useful way. Whether you're carrying something, you want to keep something dry. I mean, this is better than just carrying it in your hand if you want to throw some matches in here or something. It's better than nothing, but I wouldn't rely on this for anything, honestly. So that's the flashlight. The emergency survival blanket. The reason I wanted to pull this out is because I wanted to see how this one feels, and yeah, this thing is super thin. I don't want to pull it all the way out, but this guy feels pretty thin, 130 by 210, so standard size. Emergency blankets are always good to have, even on warm days. Everyone knows, well, I shouldn't say that. If you're watching this, maybe this is the first time you're seeing this, an emergency Mylar blanket, it's not designed to keep you warm, even though it says heat and cold protection. This is designed to reflect your own body heat back at you. So it's good in a lot of situations simply because it'll keep you warm just wrapped up. It is not, however, an emergency blanket, as in keeping you warm from the elements. This is not going to protect you. This is a layer. And it is a layer in the sun, too, to reflect heat or light away from you, which is really nice. So these are useful in a lot of ways, but I've seen some people treat these like they're going to save you. What these are going to do is help you maintain, um, but don't rely on this as your only means of shelter. This is a layer. That's kind of my rant about emergency blankets. What I would have really liked to have seen in here, well, what else do we have? Got a couple more baggies. This is some more first aid. Let me see. I think this is the pack of all the Band-Aids. Yeah, this is Band-Aids. Some bigger Band-Aids, smaller Band-Aids. Again, you can go back, look at the video that I posted up top that has all the different types of Band-Aids that are actually in this kit. And there's a lot of different ones, and so far I am actually seeing everything that was promised. Knuckle, large, small, butterflies, these, the dumbbell for splits. I mean, this has a lot of Band-Aids. So I do like, too, if you notice, all of this has expiration dates on it. That's pretty cool. It's hard in a lot of these kits to see when things expire. And I mean, an expired Band-Aid is still going to be a Band-Aid. But I like knowing, say in a couple years I do pull this out, or I'm inspecting my gear, like anyone should. If you have a lot of outdoor gear, if you have emergency or first aid gear, do inspect it and make sure what you have is up to date. Your medicines, your creams, your even your bandages, that everything is in fact still going to work if you have to pull it out. Excuse me. So that's some more, see, large sterile swabs and gauze. For me personally, what I'm gonna throw in with this is a bunch of rubber bands too, or Ranger bands. I like rubber bands more though because these are just gauze. You have to find a way to make them stay, and you can use. I mean, this tape is junk. Like I said, replace this. However, tape tears. It gets dirty. You sweat into it. It doesn't always stay. So I personally like using rubber bands as well because rubber bands are going to be rubber bands unless they break, but they're not going to move around. You can sweat. Rubber bands are, in my opinion, an underrated first aid item simply because they do have good utility. You can get a Ranger band, you can get tougher stuff, but just a handful of regular rubber bands can do a lot more than even tape can. Now, something else I was really interested in here when it comes to first aid is this. Basic advice on first aid at work. And that makes me wonder where they pulled some of this from. But we've got, this is kind of cool, a little table of contents here. Here, I'm going to pause this and take a picture, so, because my camera's kind of just whiting this out. So if you want to pause, I'm going to put the picture for the table of contents here. I'm not going to read this all on camera, but I do like that it's got just a little bit of something. Something I've talked about in the past too. I like right off, it has a place for notes. That's another big thing that's underrated in a lot of first aid is being able to take notes. Because say you need to leave this with someone for emergency or first responder contact because you can't be there. Having something written down when it happened, where it happened, you can even see. Maybe I'll get a picture of this too. Oh, camera, come on now. Almost. Yeah, tell you what, I'm going to get another picture. So this front page is actually notes about what's happened, but it's got telephone numbers, date, time, all sorts of stuff, so you can take notes on an injury. I like paper because, of course, this can be used for fuel, but this also keeps you sane. Part of being, say, you're using this in an emergency situation where you are maybe stranded, Having something to read and keep your mind active, having something just to do, can help keep you sharp when otherwise you might be kind of wandering mentally. So something to read is good. The fact that it's first aid is good. The fact that it's got a place for notes, I love it. Now I don't see, and it doesn't list, there is no actual pen or pencil in here. So I don't know what you're supposed to write with, but yeah, I'm going to pull all this out. Let's see, the first aid. I'll leave these little guys in. So you've got one big pocket here, and then two smaller pockets on the front. And this feels, now that I'm feeling the inside, this feels like it might be a waterproof material, but I can't trust these seams. If I was going to actually rely on this, looks like a double stitch in there. I'd probably treat this with something, whether I pull it apart and put some, I got some really good advice. I'll have to put it in here, who gave me the advice on the survival kit, the Wolf Creek one, was that you can pull apart seams and sew a little strip of rubber into the seam itself to help keep stuff waterproof. So thank you for that tip. I'd never heard that before. But I would say that this needs more treatment before I would really trust it to be a good waterproof item. So I'm going to pack this up and do some final thoughts here. So what I've got here are the stars and the duds. As far as the basics go, the med kit itself, I'm going to give maybe a C or a B. A lot of these med kits don't come with medicine, and that makes sense. They're just kind of grabbing bulk stuff. I actually did a little bit of research here. This DeftGet company on Amazon has a few first aid kits, so they're just grabbing stuff that fits, and I assume this is the same stuff if I get some of their other products that I would find in some of their other stuff. It's not terrible. A lot of Band-Aids, a lot of wraps and gauze, but I'd like to see more triple antibiotic, more wipes, that sort of thing. But the fact that it comes in this bag that really does have a lot of space means that this is going to be super easy to put stuff in and modify, whether I want to take something out, whatever it's going to be. The med kit itself in the bag is a really good option. It's a good size. It's the size of a small handbag. It's a little bigger than my dad sling as far as height, but about the same width. And honestly, it didn't feel bad when it had the spade and it had everything in it. I would feel comfortable carrying this and not worrying about it tearing, as long as I'm not, carrying anything really crazy heavy in it. So the med kit itself, C plus B minus, but with a lot of potential. What I've got here, like I said, the stars and the duds. For sure, one of the stars here is the spade itself. The fact that it came in this kit, that for the quality of the total kit, I'm seeing these for $8 to $12 on their own, and the fact that this whole kit was 17, I like this thing. Like I said, I'm going to do a little bit of digging probably in my garden just to see how it goes, but I would feel comfortable having this for super light duty. The fact that it's got its own pouch with a loop in it, I don't know how strong that would be, but I mean, this gets an A just for the fact that it is in this kit and it is functional. If you haven't used one of these before, they've been around for a long time. I had something like this when I was in Scouts, so these are good little tools. The knife, being a knife guy, this is not something I would rely on, but I like the form and fit in this kit. So in this kit, a B. Just the fact that it attaches, the fact that it doesn't feel flimsy, the fact that it fits okay. I've dealt with a lot of these just cheap throw-off knives where you don't even want to open the thing and you're scared to close the thing because you don't know if it's going to fall apart and cut a finger off. Little tiny tourniquet. I mean, this is the thing that this thing's honestly better for, well, you know what? I'm going to save that. It's in the wrong category. The scissors, stainless steel, the fact that they have a measure, tiny ruler on them, And the fact that they cut and feel decent, they're a good size. Something that I get why first aid kits do it, but it bothers me. They have those tiny little scissors, and you feel like you have to pinch them like tweezers. These are going to get a good cut, and I like that. And finally, this little mini backup fishing kit. Again, I'm not sure what the strength is, but the fact that everything's already strung, the fact that it comes on this little floating reel, so if I drop it, I'm not worried about losing it. A lot of floaters on here. This by itself, it's hard to find a decent small kit without spending a ton. I don't know that the quality on this is amazing. I'm not pulling in any, Cabela's Big Bass, but it's a good little kit to have in here. Ugh. Fine. The duds. This I'm kind of on the fence about. The more I've played with it, this is the same thing they use for taking blood. This is better than nothing. It is not as good as an actual tourniquet that otherwise you might find in a lot of kits. But I do like that it stows. This is kind of in between for me. So not a bad thing to have, but I can fit a regular or a good tourniquet in a kit like this. The whistle is junk. It's got that little plastic insert. It's better than nothing, but I would rather throw in really anything than rely on this too much, so that's a dud. These tweezers are already breaking. These are trash. Carabiner, you know what? This goes on here. I hang it from the outside. It at least jingles so people know where I'm at, and it's better than nothing. And the utility card. Like I said, if you know how to use these, if you know what this is actually good for, or if you're someone who uses one of these all the time, let me know. Tell me what I'm missing. So, yeah. Let me, I said I'm going to get some final thoughts here. Let me actually pack it up and do some actual final thoughts. Actually, just realized before I pack it up, flashlight, total trash. Throw it away, don't bother. So actual final thoughts. For 17 bucks, this is a great deal. This is a good kit. I'm personally going to end up definitely using the spade. I'm going to end up using the bag. I don't know that I'm going to leave all of this stuff in. I'll probably drop some stuff in, take some stuff out. But the fact that I can put so much extra stuff in here, I'm just really impressed with this. Now, I cannot say that this stuff is 100% quality. This is $17, and I fully believe in the old adage that you get what you pay for. Absolutely. But I also believe that things shouldn't be counted out just because they're cheap. I don't like to carry a lot of super expensive stuff for a couple reasons. One, I can't afford a lot of super expensive stuff. Two, I don't like the idea of breaking a lot of super expensive stuff or really straining things just for the sake of having them to strain them. This is something I'm going to test and use before I am going to rely on it in an emergency situation. Now, first aid stuff, I know how a Band-Aid works. I know how a whistle works. I know how a knife works and a flashlight works. So as you deal with your own EDC, it comes down to preference. And for me personally, I like finding tools that are affordable, ergonomic, and make sense for me to personally carry. And that's what my channel is about. That's what I think EDC, that's what a lot of things are about. And another big thing, I've seen this comment a lot on my previous videos, is that your tools are only as good as your knowledge. And I 100% agree. The tools I carry, I know how to use and I'm comfortable using them. The fact that this has a serrated edge on it, well, first off, it's junk. I can do this. And yeah, I don't know that I rely on that for too much sawing, but it's better than nothing. But the fact that I know how to use one of these and am comfortable and have used them may be different than a lot of people. It would be something that you would want to get comfortable with before relying on. So if you are going to rely on tools for your EDC or survival or first aid, get comfortable with them, know how to use them. Don't take my word, as the law or the truth. I'm a guy who's done a lot of this stuff and dealt with a lot of this stuff. However, take it for what it's worth and do your own exploring, do your own, have your own experiences and try these things out and get comfortable and be knowledgeable. So, final rating, this kit for me, B plus. I'm gonna supplement some stuff. I'll probably steal some stuff out of it to put in my other kits. But overall, for $17, this quote first aid kit refill for car, home, camping, travel, office, sports, gardening, mud, snow, military, folding shovel, survival, multi-tool box, 31 items. Yeah, I think it's worth the money. So, thank you for watching. As always, like, subscribe, and most importantly, I just like playing with this thing. Sorry, that's not most importantly. Comment. Let me know what you think. If I got it totally wrong, if you think I'm bonkers, if you think this sucks, or if you have some ideas of your own. I love to interact with the community. I love sharing and getting information. We're only going to be more knowledgeable by sharing information with each other. So I know the last 5 minutes of this video is super exciting, just watching me fidget with a shovel on my desk and listening to me rant. But I just want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for spending your time with me. And I hope this has done something for someone. I hope anyone, just one person, can take something away from this. So yeah, as always, stay safe, be prepared, and have a great day.